one.
So if I were to ask you to tell me what you would consider to be a practically perfect film, what would that be and why? Well, right here on Meet Me at the Movies, we've been asking that question of film critics, film fans, film lovers, and friends of mine as well. And a friend is joining me today. A couple years ago, got a chance to spend some time with Will Eskridge. Now, Will and I have known each other for well over 2 decades. He and I were the co-founders of the Reel-to-Reel Film Fest from the Cleveland County Arts Council. And so I've known of his love of cinema for a very, very long time. So when I, Noel T II, got a chance to spend some time with Will to find out what he would consider to be practically perfect from a cinema standpoint, I was not surprised that Nicolas Cage showed up in that mix. Let's go to that conversation right now on Meet Me at the Movies. Hello, welcome to Practically Perfect Cinema. Try to say that 3 or 4 times really fast and you'll stumble. I promise you you will. I was trying to think of a third P to have that alliteration. Practically Perfect Pictures, and they are pictures, they're moving pictures, but it still works. Practically Perfect Cinema still works. I'm Noel T II, joined with Will Eskridge, a longtime friend. We've known each other for about 25 years now, which is really hard for me to believe that we've known each other that long. And when we've talked to movies over the course of that time, during a season that you lived near me, we definitely talked a lot more about films, and we got to be involved in the foundation of the Reel-to-Reel Film Festival. We were the co-founders of that. You approached me with this idea and asked what I thought, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. See, there are people calling right now to find out when the next festival is going to be taking place, so I have to call them back on that. But Will, really good to see you. Good to have you on the show as we talk Practically Perfect Cinema. I'd love for you to give me a little background on where your love of film began.
I probably have to put it back to my mom and dad. They were actually in Hot Air.
Wow.
They were extras in that movie. And I do remember going to see that. It was a big deal. They were at the Holiday Inn. They were just, you could barely see them or whatever, but we went to, I guess it would have, maybe at the Rogers Theater, maybe is where it screened. And I remember putting on the 3D glasses. And it was just such a huge, I remember that being a big deal. Huge deal. That was really big. But
and that was the Hot Air. That was an Earl Owensby film that was shot on his with his studios, and that was when he was doing all of these 3D films. So Hot Air, kind of the Great Balloon Chase, and that was actually, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Greenville used to have this kind of Greenville Weekend Aloft where they had all these balloons that went up, and this was kind of what launched that.
I did not realize that. I have heard of that years later, but I did not realize that's awesome. And so it was that, and then just we always, it was a big deal. I remember going to the drive-in theater to see was it Private Eyes, the one out of Isothermal with Don Knotts and Harvey. So like. Things like that. We did that as a family, and we'd go to the movie theater. I remember seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark when I was a kid, and I don't know, we just saw these practically perfect and maybe not so perfect films, as kids, and I really think that sparked it. And then, Dad, had an RCA camcorder, and now just doing home movies, and I've actually been going through some of that stuff, some of the VHS stuff, which has been great, and thank goodness for that, and then my mom's dad had a regular 8, but that's really, I think that is really what sparked it, and it was just such a fun experience. The smell of the popcorn, going as a group is such a cool, fun thing to do too. Yeah. And I enjoy going by myself sometimes too, but haven't done that in a while. But it's such an experience. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a community. It is a community experience, and initially theaters were designed with that in mind. And the art films, the awards caliber films, they're not really drawing people to theaters. And I mean, people, I'm being very general, but wide audiences are not going to see these types of films. And theaters are suffering because of that. But you have a background in art as well. And so you've always appreciated the art of cinema, whether it be the cinematography, the production design, sound design, the score, all of those things have appealed to you. And I know when we were in those early years of working on the Reel-to-Reel Film Festival, that was something that we looked at every aspect of the film, the art and the science of it, and that was kind of the beauty of what we did. And when I started thinking about practically perfect cinema, it's not necessarily the art. Cinema is also the entertainment aspect, and it can be both. And so, when you sent me your pick, to me, it's a pick that appeals both to me critically and also just as a film lover. And the film is from 1987.
1987.
So tell me about your practically perfect film.
All right, here it goes. It's Raising Arizona by the Coen Brothers.
Oh, it is. It's such a fun and unusual film. So for you, what is it that makes this practically perfect?
So it is a double whammy for me personally, in that I do believe it is a overall everything, and we'll get into the minutia, into the details. But it's also extremely nostalgic for me because I was about 11 years old, and for some reason it was one of those movies that we all watched, and every single person in our family would just endlessly quote it, like just to this day, like whatever. So like Raymond, my brother, and I still quote it to this day. Mom will still quote it. Dad would when Beth and everybody. It was just one of those. We saw it as a family. I think we might have rented it. I don't think we went to see it in the theater. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, overall, it is the cinematography is so on point, and it's such a
and it's creative. It's so creative.
I love all the practical. I don't know if it's not really practical effects in the sense of like Harryhausen, but like it's those things of like you can see the almost the Sam Raimi-ish of ness of using like some of these practical things and doing the thing with the Huggies on the floor, you could see those edits when it's on the thing and he goes, it's not Ozzy and Harriet, and he picks up the thing. There's just very, very clever editing that goes into that movie. And the soundtrack, talk about the soundtrack, man. Oh my word. It fits that so perfectly. And it's the same guy, I cannot think of his name right now, but it's the same guy that did Blood Simple, which was one of their first ones too. And it's that weird, it's like, it's funny, but then there's like these odd, it's Coen Brothers, so you know where that goes, but it's also this beautiful, stunning film. I mean, it's all the feels, it's all, you feel for them as, they're trying to get their life on track. They're trying to do the right thing. One of my favorite parts in that movie actually is it's kind of a dark horse, and it's just when they first got married, and it's at the very beginning because it's got one of the longest intros before the the credits even run. It's got one of the longest intro sequences ever.
Like a cold open, yeah.
Yeah, and they go through the whole. They go to grab the junior. They put the ladder on the station wagon, and you're already that far in the film. Anyway, but one of the most beautiful things is when they're sitting on the lawn chairs. They've just gotten married. They haven't gone into the whole kidnapping thing, and they just watch the sunset, and it's just a very quick thing, and she goes, "That was beautiful," and it's just things like that in that film. Yeah. Just it gives me chills. It puts the hair up on my neck because it's just you really do see the love that they're just. He's trying to do better, it's just, I think she has this motherly instinct because she's taken him, kind of trying to make him better, and then they want to, anyway. So.
Yeah, you mentioned the soundtrack. Carter Burwell did the soundtrack. Who's worked with the Coen Brothers, and this was, talk about a quirky soundtrack. I mean, you had these sounds of the organ, you had a choir, you had a banjo, you had whistling, you had the yodeling.
The yodeling,
I mean, that's just that's not typical for a soundtrack. And the Coen Brothers, this film is really quite different than Blood Simple. I mean, sure, it's got the Coen Brothers stamp, but it's a quite different kind of film. And so, for those who may have been expecting Blood Simple when they went into this, they were surprised big time on this. And the cinematography, which we talked about, and some of the choices with the shots, that was the guy's name was Barry Sumfeld, who has worked with the Coens quite often as well. Yeah, it's a film that is such a quirky concept when you look at the script, and it's almost got this Southern Gothic kind of feel to it as well. And I know the Coens talked about they wanted to kind of pay homage to some of those quirky films of like the Preston Sturges kind of films, but also to that Southern Gothic literature of Flannery O'Connor. And I think it's a beautiful combination of really both of those kinds of things. It's such it's almost a film that transcends genre, because it's not your typical comedy, but you talk about those moments of clarity that are really pure drama that make you think.
Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking that same thing. I was like, it's a comedy in my head. I'm like, it's almost, I mean, it is, but it's not. I wouldn't label it as a comedy. And, it's not a drama, but there are dramatic parts. It's not an action film, but there are certainly towards the end with the warthog, the guy that dresses like a rock star. Yeah. But, so it does. You're right. I mean, it supersedes any kind. And I think that's one of the things why I like about it, just that quirkiness. That just, you can't really fit it in any peg, any peg. So it's an odd shaped peg for the holes that are available,
And it is one of those films that I think only truly works when all of those pieces of the puzzle fit, because of the dynamic of who the Coen Brothers are. I mean, especially this. I mean, you got to see. I think in this film you truly got to see what they were capable of from creating unusual story and unique and memorable characters. So you got that as the foundation. But in order for that to work, the directing really does have to be spot on from start to finish. But the casting has to work.
The players, oh man, yeah. Sorry, the players. I mean, William Forsythe, John Goodman, Holly Hunter, Nick Cage, of course, Ian Marshall, Tex Cobb. I mean, you have them, and they are. Every single person in that film is firing on all cylinders, whether it was a small part like Emmett Marshall, or whether it was lead like Nick or Holly. It's just it's Francis McDormand. And I mean, just everybody is firing on all cylinders, and
and with the Coens, that's something I've always appreciated, that even the supporting characters, or what may be a minor character in any other director's film, here it matters.
Yeah.
Every character matters.
Yes. Yeah. Down to when he's drilling the pipes or whatever he's doing in the thing, and MM is right there, and he's just that classic guy at work that's not doing anything but talking your ear off, and you're just trying to get your job done, And that was a small part, but it was so perfect. It's funny, and it's relatable. Everybody has worked that job where I'm just trying to make it through the week, man. Like, can you go back over there and oil the pipe, or whatever you need to do, or whatever your job is, and so it's just, Yeah, exactly. Like those.
Yeah, let me just get to 5 o'clock, okay? Just
Yeah.
you go on over to your place. I appreciate you. Appreciate the work you're doing.
Right.
But let me do my job,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can we at least maybe talk at lunch? I don't know. But you wouldn't. I don't think you would have. It's one of those movies too. It's early enough in their career. You wouldn't have. I don't think. I see a lot of similarities with obviously with A Brother Where Art Thou. You wouldn't have that movie if they had. I mean, I try not to say things like that, but like I don't think that would. You know what I mean? If they hadn't nailed it with that one, and it's kind of a deeper cut. I mean, people know it, but I don't know. I actually don't know what it did at the box office. I can't imagine it did amazing, just given that, but I think it obviously did okay because they did, Hudsucker Proxy and
right.
Everything after that. So
thanks so much for joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies. Today, Will Eskridge joining us as we talk about why Raising Arizona is considered a practically perfect film. After this quick intermission, we're going to be back with more of that dialogue, so stick around.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hi, I'm Nikki Bliss Carroll, your host for Cleveland Connections, the show that explores what's happening at Cleveland Community College. Join us as we sit down with members of faculty and staff to discuss programs of study, upcoming events, and other exciting campus news. We'll have a new show for you each month on C19 TV, or you can stream us online at C19.tv. Tune in and connect with Cleveland Community College on Cleveland Connections.
Education is our most powerful tool to improve and change our world. Hi, I'm Rhonda Benfield, your host for School Matters. Join me for a new program every other week with information from and about the students and staff of Cleveland County Schools. Discover what our schools are doing to challenge students and help them reach their full potential. You can catch us on Spectrum Cable Channel 19 or stream us live on C19.tv.
Hi, I'm Shara Miller, the host of Artworks. Each month we bring to you wonderful, talented artists from here in Cleveland County and the region. We have artists, we have potters, we have painters, we have musicians, we have actors. We just have wonderful artists that come to you and tell you about all that they're doing, their creativity, what inspires them. Join me here on Artworks each month on C19. You can also watch us online at c19.tv.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hello and welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies as we talk about practically perfect cinema and why Raising Arizona should make that list. Let's go right back to that conversation with me and Will Eskridge from just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was a limited budget, $5.5 million. It brought in, about $30 million at the box office. So it was a success, especially when you look at what it cost.
Right.
And it truly set them up for doing some other things down the road, some other things they wanted to do. And I think that's, Holly Hunter was a known commodity, and people knew what she was capable of. They knew that she could do drama, she could do comedy, she could do in between, and Cage was he's just wild and crazy, and there was a time in my life that I was not a Cage fan, but this changed it for me. This really took it into a different direction. I started to appreciate him. This and also Honeymoon in Vegas. I'll say those two films
Honeymoon in
with
Vegas.
Cage.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater when I was 16 or whatever when it came out. It's great. Yeah, Jimmy
I'll say
Caan.
those two for me from a Cage standpoint sold me. And and here he is decades later playing himself in movies. And Cage, who has been nominated for Oscars and won major awards, he's like, I'm an actor, and if somebody wants to pay me to act, it doesn't have to be the award caliber film.
Right.
It's a job, and if I want to work, I'm going to work, and I love that. I absolutely love that about him.
I love that too. I can certainly appreciate that, and I think Michael Caine has a similar outlook on that, and I think that's really it doesn't have to be practically perfect.
Right.
So
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts you want to make sure you share about Raising Arizona?
I would just like to say that it is a beautiful film. I think it broke the mold for them, and I really do. I think even you have I love Blood Simple, I love Miller's Crossing, but I really think this for the actors too. I think it was just one of those, maybe third times the one that just set them off, and it's near and dear to my heart on, like I said, on personal level and on an artistic level.
Yeah, a foundational film on many levels, and while you and I both talk about how it kind of transcends genre, American Film Institute, when they looked at 100 Years and 100 Laughs, this was number 31 on their list.
Awesome.
And Bravo had the 100 funniest movies, and it was number 45 on that list. So it is one of those that people do go back to, and it's one of those that the expectations were pretty low. And I think that's what's beautiful about these practically perfect moments. Sometimes it's the lightning in the bottle that happens that you have no idea that it's actually going to work, and it does.
Right, exactly. Yep, very good.
Yeah. All right, Will Eskridge, our guest right here on Practically Perfect Cinema. And Will, if people wanted to follow your art and explore your artistic pursuits, what's the best way they can do that?
The best way is through my website, which is www.willeskridge.com, and that's ESK and Ridge, like a mountain ridge, RIDGE.com.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Money. Always good to see you. And
good to see you too, Noel. Thank you for having me.
Do you see him too?
So have you ever found yourself watching a film and walking away from it, not getting it, not loving it, maybe even not appreciating it for one reason or another? I think that happens to all of us from time to time. But upon a revisit, sometimes revisiting a film with friends can change your perspective. That definitely is something that has happened to me over the years especially the early years with Nicolas Cage films. Raising Arizona from 1987 is really a film that I think, to me, has gotten better with the test of time from my standpoint. So when you think about this, when you mix a reformed criminal, a cop with a heart of gold, and 5 bouncing babies, and a biker who looks like he rode straight out of Mad Max, you get really one of the most brilliantly bonkers comedies of the 1980s, and that is Raising Arizona. Directed by Joel and Ethan Coen in 1987, this film is part screwball comedy romance, part crime caper, and part fever dream, and it's all wrapped up into a giant, chaotic hug. So Nicolas Cage, he sports a hairstyle here that seems to have a life of its own, and he plays H.I. McDonough, small-time crook with big-time dreams, and Holly Hunter's Edwina, well, she goes by Ed. She's the parole officer who falls for this bad boy and the bad boy charm, and she eventually marries him. after a few too many mugshots for sure. But when biology refuses to cooperate with their dreams of starting a family, H.I. and Ed come up with a simple, foolproof plan. Nathan, Arizona, well, he's got more babies than he can handle, and he's not going to miss one, right? Well, spoiler alert, he does notice, and really what follows in this film is a wild, diaper-flying, bounty hunter-chasing, Huggies heisting adventure for the ages. And speaking of bounty hunters, well, Randall Tex Cobb, he barrels onto the scene like a dirt-streaked demon. He's the lone rider of doom, and he's sent to bring chaos, carnage, and a very confused baby back home. It really is pure Coen Brothers insanity, and is stitched together with heart, with humor, and really some of the best one-liners that you can shake a pacifier out. So here's some oddball trivia that I wanted to toss around. Nicolas Cage, he wanted to add even more quirkiness to the character of H.I., like spontaneous finger snapping and offbeat dancing moves, but the Coen brothers politely told him, Nick, this character in the film is already weird enough. I think we're okay. Now the Coen brothers, listen to this, their storyboard, they love storyboards. And for this, they storyboarded the entire scene like it was a living comic strip. Every chase, every slapstick moment, every scene of H.I. running in slow motion with a pack of diapers, it was all precisely mapped out. That's just the genius of the Coen brothers. And Frances McDormand, Joel Coen's future wife and national treasure, she makes a rapid-fire cameo as Dot. She is a woman who is giving parental advice so terrifying that you may want to move to another zip code. So some final thoughts here as I think about Raising Arizona. It's more than a baby heist film. It really is a film with a beating heart. It is hilarious, and the high energy of this tale is really about love. It's about family. It's about mistakes, forgiveness, and yeah, of course, diaper robberies. It really is truly pure Coen Brothers magic. It's messy, it's bold, and somehow it's deeply human underneath all the cartoonish chaos. Raising Arizona is truly pure, unfiltered, cinematic mayhem, but somehow it works and it's absolutely brilliant. The story kicks off with this wild premise that feels like a tall tale passed down through generations, one way more ridiculous and way more awesome than the others. But Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter, they're nothing short of comedy gold. They are amazing. They throw themselves into these roles with so much heart and manic charm that you can't help but root for them. Even when they're making the worst choices imaginable, you find a way to love them and to be drawn into who they are as characters. Every shot, thanks to the Coen brothers' genius, it really does feel like it's something that could leap straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon. It's exaggerated, it's vibrant, and it's packed with motion. The best part, no matter how many times I watch Raising Arizona, there's always something hidden there. There's always a perfectly slapstick moment and another absurd scene that's really waiting to crack you up and for you to break down and think about. Sometimes all you have to do is just think about the fun and the chaos of life, and it can remind you films like this are reflections of sometimes our craziest days. The final grade for this, solid A rating. So for Meet Me at the Movies, I'm Noel T. Manning II, reminding you that sometimes life's biggest messes make for the best stories. Until next time, for Meet Me in the Movies, that's a wrap.
We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.